Hey, good morning. Welcome back to In Bloom. This is Adriana coming back to you from Mindful Meditation Studio. It's good to be back here with you guys this morning. Good to see you on the cushion. So today we're rounding the bend a little bit and coming into the topic of opening up to not only ourselves but also our environment, the world around us. And if you've had the experience on the cushion of sort of seeing the kaleidoscope that happens when we sit down and take a moment of silence, how there's still so much internal activity that happens. Today we're going to be opening it up even further to the world around us and our environment, and opening up our senses a bit, which I think is a particularly delicious topic. I know for me at least, it's so easy to move through my world just sort of lodged between my eyebrows, where I'm not necessarily paying attention to what's around me, just kind of going to that next thing that I'm doing and continuing to sort of stay up in my head. I know that in the morning sometimes I can roll out of bed and I just sort of go on autopilot. I follow through my morning routine of feeding the cats and ironing my clothes and taking a shower and walking out the door and walking down the street, and it isn't really until I reach my destination that I'm like, oh wait, whoa, how did I get here? I completely missed all of that because I was just on autopilot. So this is a way of beginning to disrupt that habit or that tendency of just going on autopilot and moving to that next thing we have to do, and really paying attention to the transitions and the environment that bring us there. So without further ado, let's get down to practicing. And as always, just finding our position, a seat that feels very sustainable, supported. And then once we found our seat, just letting our eyes gently shut. And perhaps giving ourselves a few exaggerated inhales and exhales to begin here. And then beginning to open ourselves up a bit to our senses. It's touchstone to what's actually happening around us. These gateways of experience. So beginning just by turning our attention over to sound. And seeing if we can keep this relatively passive and receptive. And so rather than searching or straining to hear, just allowing the tonal quality of the room to come up and meet our ears. And then staying open but not fixated on sound. Just turning our attention over to the sensation of touch. Just noticing all of the points where our body makes contact. With the floor, our seat, itself. Just noticing these touch points where you can feel the body resting, being held up, supported. And then turning our attention over to the sensation of our clothing against our skin. And perhaps noticing its texture or its weight. Noticing the points where the clothing constricts, where it hangs loosely. And then turning our attention over to the temperature of the air against our exposed skin. So really just beginning to pare our experience down into its tiniest composite parts. And opening up our senses as this gateway to experience. And then taking a moment to turn our attention over to our sense of smell. And perhaps picking up any lingering scents or odors in the room. And again, seeing if we can keep this relatively passive. And so rather than straining to smell, just allowing our nose to pick up any sensory information that's available. Taking a moment to turn our attention over to taste. And just noticing if there are any lingering flavors. And then moving into our body scan. And so bringing our attention to our feet. Again, just noticing all of the points where our feet make contact with the floor, with the cushion. And perhaps noticing our feet inside the texture of our socks. And grazing our attention along the tops of the ankles and to the shins, And grazing our attention along the tops of the thighs into the hips. And taking a moment just to rest in our hips, our sit bones here. And again, just noticing where we make contact. And perhaps articulating our sit bones, nuzzling into the cushion beneath us. Moving into the belly. And just taking a moment to watch the breath here. Noticing the expansion and contraction of the belly against the waistband of our pants, the texture of our clothing. And so again, just beginning to pick up on the minutia of our immediate experience. Breaking it down into its simplest parts. And walking our attention up the length of the spine, lower back, middle back, upper back, shoulders, moving into our temperature check. It's taking a moment to notice what it feels like to be us today. And seeing if we can do this with a gentle touch, without making our mood mean anything about us. Just noticing and collecting information. And then locating that point in the body where you can most easily feel the breath. And so wherever the breath is most available, and just dropping our anchor here, marking this as our object of meditation, our return point. And working with that simple instruction of just noticing, acknowledging, and coming back to the breath. I invite us all today to keep our practice rather open and penetrable, allowing our sensory experience to also be included. Any sounds in the room, and physical sensations, lingering odors or flavors. Inviting everything in to be a part of our practice. And in those moments when we find ourselves lost in thought, to just acknowledge where we've gone and gently but firmly come back to the sensation of breathing. And again, if we find ourselves daydreaming or ruminating, lost in thought, just taking a moment to come back to our senses in a very literal way. Opening up to sound, opening up to touch, taste, and feeling our sit bones on the cushion, and back to the breath in the body. And again, if we've left our breath, just using our senses to relocate ourselves here in space. Feeling our clothing against our skin. Opening up to the tonal quality of the room. Without fixating, coming back to the sensation of breath in the body. And again. Opening our senses as a touchstone. This way of disrupting our mental chatter. Noticing where the body makes contact. And the sounds in the room. The temperature of the air. And then back to the sensation of breathing. And then in our final moments of practice together, it's taking a moment to close with kindness. It's reconnecting to what it is that brought us here. Perhaps our overarching intention or what it was about today that brought us to the cushion. And then extending a bit of thanks to ourselves. Maybe a kind word or a feeling of warmth. Knowing that we didn't have to be here. But that we chose to show up and take care of ourselves in this way. And then whenever you're ready, just coming back into the room together. At your own pace, no rush. Thank you for practice today. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was a delight. So I look forward to the next few days. Sydney is going to be back with us over the next 2 days, but then I'm back again and we'll continue this exploration of opening our senses and coming into contact with our environment. So have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back on the cushion.